You're listening to the Packernet Podcast Network.
Desde 2019, a Toyota vem acelerando o futuro, produzindo no Brasil o primeiro híbrido flex do mundo. De lá pra cá, as coisas mudaram. Muitos entraram na tendência que a gente criou. Mas sabe o que não mudou? A confiança do brasileiro na Toyota, que não veio da noite pro dia. Toyota, no futuro há muito tempo. Paz no trânsito começa por você.
Tá a fim de ver os grandes craques do futebol europeu? Tá com aquela vontade de ver um golaço? Um clássico do futebol inglês ou El Clássico espanhol? A gente tá contigo e com o Vini Júnior, o Haaland, o Mbappé e muito mais. O Disney Plus tá com tudo e o melhor futebol do mundo tá no Disney Plus. Assista ao futebol europeu ao vivo no Disney Plus.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Packernet Podcast. I am your host and resident fanalist, as always, Ryan Schlipp. Check us out online, packernet.com. Find me on Twitter, pack_data. Well, boy, oh boy. I was saying, oh, for crying out loud, I will never learn. I was saying on the live stream, you know, there's kind of two modes. There's in this game mode, and then there's big picture mode. It's obviously very upsetting when you're in game mode, but if you step back, there's some positives. The problem is Jordan Love went and got himself hurt, seemingly somewhat seriously, with 6 seconds left. So, it's really hard to figure out what the heck to say right now. Is this, jeez. There is a Vikings person who posted a picture of Jordan Love hobbling, saying, "Aw, shucks, that's too bad, skull." Anyways. Look, first of all, I think for the sake of sanity, maybe, and obviously you can make a case for it as being real, but just for the sake of sanity, I feel like it's almost necessary to chalk this up to being a preseason game. It was about as sloppy as you can get, and the Eagles were sloppy too. There's no doubt about it. But at the end of the day, it just felt like, and Trucker Bob kind of talked about it. He was more so talking about the offensive line. But I mentioned on top of that, I mean, it probably the more disciplined team is going to win this game. It's going to be a real tough, hard-fought battle, and the one that makes the least mistakes wins. And I feel as though that may have been the case. And you can say, well, how can you say that when the Eagles turn the ball over? Look at what the Packers did with those turnovers. Those are mistakes. You have the Packers gift you the football deep in Eagles territory, and you can't capitalize. Those are big mistakes. Lots of big mistakes, missed opportunities. The penalties were out of control. I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot to go back and look at. There is a lot to like. I think if you look at sort of the bare bones of it, the ability of the team, I think maybe one of the most impressive people on the team was Matt LaFleur. You can say, well, it's his fault that the team wasn't prepared. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what causes a team to just not show up. Maybe it's the coach. I don't know. But the play calling was phenomenal on offense. It was constant penalties negating touchdowns, first downs, etc. Dropped passes by lots of receivers. Terrible play by the quarterback in certain situations. I just a lot of mistakes. But again, the talent seemed to be there. Jaden Reed looked phenomenal. Guys were wide open a lot. You know, Wicks was open quite a bit. Maybe the hands weren't quite there, but the route running and everything else looked crisp. Tucker Kraft looked real good. Christian Watson had a big role in this game. Even Josh Jacobs, who, by halftime, I was like, look, I think he's going to play a big role in this, but maybe this isn't his game. You know what I mean? He started picking it up. Emmanuel Wilson looked real good. The offensive line struggled. They started to get better. I don't know that it was ever a good performance. In fact, it was one of the worst offensive line performances I can remember from the Packers offensive line in quite a long time. Josh Myers was also hurt on the same play. Saw Jordan Morgan get run over. I think this has to be Rasheed Walker's worst game ever. The penalties and just getting beat. Every time I look over there, he's getting beat. Jordan did not have a ton of time in the pocket, and then when he did, things did not usually go very well. And then on the defensive side of things, it seems like, again, you can see the bare bones of something that is a good thing. I like the pressure, and I think a lot of the pressure got home, and a lot of credit goes to Jalen Hurts for his ability to get the ball out in 0.25 seconds. I mean, there were so many. I mean, they stopped blitzing because it didn't matter. And every time they brought 5, 6, 7 guys, and they did a good job. I remember a lot of other times we would bring extra pressure. It was useless. We would have linebackers blitz, and they would just get stuck. Almost every time we're bringing extra guys, there's solid pressure. But Jalen is able to find somebody immediately and get the ball out. And maybe that's a failure somewhere else. I don't know, but yeah, I think you're expecting them to maybe not be that good that fast. But again, there was plenty to like. The takeaways were fantastic. I think the physicality was there. I think they played fast and physical and downhill. The defense started to deteriorate quite a bit. The tackling went from solid to abysmal by the end of the game. And there really is no excuse for that. I'm not trying to make excuses other than to say that I have reason to believe that it's something that can and will improve. And it's a very different style of football, and I've talked about this. Like, everybody was complaining in the chat about this defense. It's Joe Barry against. Like, no. You don't get to play the Joe Barry card. You don't get to say this is Joe Barry 2.0 or Joe Barry all over again or any of that crap. This is what you begged for, and now you got it, and now you live with it. I don't want to hear all the whining. This is exactly what you wanted. See, and in reality, of course, what people want isn't a certain scheme or defensive coordinator, or they want press man, or they just want a dominant defense, period. And I understand that, but just then don't frickin' say that you want something and then you get it, and then you're like, well, this isn't what I want. Yo, it's exactly what you wanted. It's exactly what you asked for. Just like when everybody begged for Jair to be playing man-to-man, and then he plays man-to-man and he gets cooked. And then it's like, Jair, he's washed. It's like, you know what? No, you take some responsibility. Just own it. Just one time say, you know what? That was stupid. I was wrong. Maybe I should shut up. But no, it's just, we just deflect. This is the defense. And I like it. I like a lot about it. I thought the linebackers, Edgerrin Cooper looked fantastic. Quay made some mistakes, but I love the attacking, the downhill. I thought the blitzing was really effective, which I'm not used to. The blitzing has not been super effective. I think Quay got a little bit better down the stretch under the old regime, but I was really impressed when you saw an extra guy come, how often he got to the quarterback with almost no effect ever, whether because of either escapability or getting the ball out quickly or whatever. But it just feels like maybe against a different team. And I will say, again, lots of mistakes by the Eagles, but from a talent standpoint, if you were to ask me, does this feel like the 10-1 Eagles or the friggin' 2-7 or whatever they were down the stretch Eagles, I would have to hope and assume this is the 10-1. The passing seemed crisp, on target, all that stuff. A couple bad decisions, like the pick to Jair, obviously. But I even said, like, I've been talking trash about Saquon. Watch him go off. This is the best I've ever seen Saquon look in a football game ever. Offensive line was blocking like crazy. Unless we brought extra pressure, there almost was no extra pressure. So I will give credit to the Eagles for just being a talented football team. Again, lots of mistakes, but again, there's no denying when you see Jalen playing at a high level what talented quarterback he is. When you see A.J. Brown run routes, catch passes, and the physicality he brings, it's like, okay, that's a good football player right there. That's not a garbage football player. So, you kind of disassemble it and try to reassemble it in your mind, let's say next week, right? Significantly less talented opponent. They don't have A.J. Brown. They don't have Jalen Hurts. Maybe they have something kind of like, I don't know. We'll see what they have. They don't have a lot of the things that the Eagles have. And let's assume this is not some crazy long trip, and it's not week one where we're kind of at our least able to do smart things, and it's not on an ice skating rink for a football field, and but a lot of the other things are still there. I feel much better about it. Like, how well are other quarterbacks, especially young quarterbacks, going to be able to handle this level of pressure or this level of complexity and confusion with people dropping and coming and going and all this stuff? And, again, I'm just going to operate under the assumption Jordan's playing because I don't even want to necessarily think about the alternative until we find out otherwise, which I should be checking, keeping up on here just in case there's some updates on it. Matt LaFleur's comments on Jordan Love, he just says, I don't know, which makes sense, which is not great, but whatever. Matt LaFleur is not happy at the podium, to say the least. Matt LaFleur on Jordan Love's status, I don't know. Yeah. A lot of negativity. I'm trying to stay away as much as I possibly can. It's obvious. It's very easy to go down that road, but look, this is a game you wish you would win. I guess I'm kind of glad that it was sloppy, because at least if it's sloppy, you can look at it and say, we're talented, we just shot ourselves in the foot one too many times, right? I mean, if you look at the fact that we scored 29 points with Jordan just having let's call it a quarter where his brain short-circuited and he was cramping and everything else. I mean, it could have been a lot of things. And tons of mistakes. No protection, not a lot of run game, all these different things. We scored 29 points on top of, good Lord, let me pull up team stats here. 10 penalties for 71 yards. 10 penalties for 71 yards. I'll switch over to PFF in a little bit. I think they have like first downs from penalties and whatnot. Just appallingly bad. But again, the positive of being that appallingly bad in stupid ways, like, I don't know where to line up. It's one of the other things I said on the stream is there's not a lot of things that I can do that football players do as far as like on a football field. The one thing I'm pretty confident I could do is line up in a straight frickin' line. I started doing that in kindergarten, called it single file line. I think I could probably figure that out. We could not figure that out. How many times do we get called for illegal motion or whatever, just stupid. We got Tucker Kraft, or was it Musgrave or whoever, who comes in motion right behind somebody else and just stands there confused, like, oh, wait, I don't think I'm supposed to be in motion when he's in motion. Bro, just the dumbest stuff. Sloppy. And I do really feel bad for the Brazilian fans as well. I mean, it was about as exciting of a game as you can get. It's just too bad they couldn't have put together a slightly better performance. I mean, as far as big picture, I don't know. I don't know where else to take it. I think I guess there's two major takeaways. Number one, it's real sloppy and they got some work to do, right? The defense has got to work out a couple kinks. There's a lot to like. There's like individual things that are cool, but it didn't come together into a I can't sit here and praise the defense. You give up 34 points. That's the bottom line. I understand that there's more that goes into it than just looking at the box score, but let's be completely honest. I'm not going to praise the defense for giving up 34 points. It's just never going to happen. And there were a lot of issues. And then as far as the offense, it's got to tighten up. We got to block better. Receivers got to catch passes. Again, I like the play calling. It was that one series where it was, we needed 15 yards, and he gets a guy wide open, and Jordan Love dirts it. It's like, okay, that sucks. Good luck getting another guy open for 15 yards. Sure enough, guy's wide open. It's late and behind. Wicks. Right? Like, bro. And now it's 3rd and 15. It's just, Like, I don't know how many times Matt LaFleur is going to be able to pull a rabbit out of his hat and get somebody wide open 15 yards down the field. He's able to do it over and over again, and there's no execution. But, again, from a big picture standpoint, way too sloppy. But, again, you hope that if that tightens up, you got a good football team. You hope. Don't know. There's certainly work to do. The other big one is Jordan, and almost nothing matters until we get an answer on that, because we are very sorry, we are not winning a football game without Jordan. And you can piss and moan about, well, that's why we need to take that more seriously. It doesn't matter. We could have Sam Darnold if you want. It's not going to matter. We could have Mitch Trubisky. We could have Justin Fields, whatever guy that used to be a starter but is now a backup. They're not going to win you football games. I don't know. So that's that. I guess we'll take our first break. We got to start going through some of the statistics and stuff, and that'll probably spark a few other things to keep in mind. Let's see. I'm not a doctor, but here's the video of him on the sideline immediately after the injury. I don't know what I'm supposed to be... Sorry, that's very loud. I don't know what I'm supposed to be gleaning from this. I'm trying to see if there's anything I can see. He's limping. That makes sense. When you hurt your ankle, you limp. I actually had that happen several times when me and my son go on our walk. They got these freaking ground squirrel things. They dig these giant holes, and when the grass is real long, you can't see them. My whole foot will go in there. Bro, it hurts when you tweak your ankle like that. He's actually walking a little bit better there, but I think he'll be all right. It still could be one of those things where you don't know if he's going to be okay in the next week, but hopefully it's one of those you tape him up kind of deals. I mean, I don't know what I'm supposed to be gleaning from this, but I feel like the fact that they're not taking him straight back into the locker room, like for an X-ray, is probably a good sign. But again, I don't know what we're supposed to be. And then that gets retweeted and says, interesting angle of Jordan Love, ... Like, what am I missing? I don't understand what I'm supposed to be gleaning from this. Oh no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Okay. Just watching the replay, and Zach Cruz called it out. This replay doesn't look good. His knee pops, and it absolutely did. His knee popped out of joint. That could potentially be like a torn ACL, MCL thing. All right. That just became super serious. Oh, how do I just do the freaking podcast? All right. First of all, stop replaying that. I don't want to keep seeing his knee pop out of joint. Oh, Lord. Okay. Sorry. Trying to stay focused here. This is just like massive freaking catastrophic thing that just came across my screen. But we don't know that. He might be okay, I guess. I don't know. Can your knee pop out and just pop back in and you didn't just tear something? Why don't we take a break? I'm going to go upstairs. I'm going to get some air. I'll be right back. Kick off the 2024 football season with Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. It's the easiest way to play. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch your winnings roll in. This September, get automatic win every week by picking Caleb Williams to get just 1 passing yard. That's right, 4 weeks of free wins, but only if you jump on it before September ends. And don't forget, you can win up to 100 times your money with as little as 4 correct picks. Prize Picks even has injury insurance, so if your player leaves the game early, you're still in the game. I've been loving Prize Picks, my go-to for simple, fast, and fun fantasy action. When my picks hit, I get paid in as little as 15 minutes. Download Prize Picks now and use code PACKDADDY to get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code PACKDADDY for $50 guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. Remember, Prize Picks is a skill-based fantasy game, making your lineups just got a whole lot more exciting.
Meu nome é Cairo Santos e eu sou o kicker e o único brasileiro jogando na NFL. Cada chute, cada jarda conquistada, cada passo me levou para mais perto dos meus sonhos. Agora, a cada R$200 em compras com seu Visa cadastrado, você tem a chance de ficar mais perto do sonho de assistir ao Super Bowl 59. E usando o seu cartão de débito, você ainda concorre a prêmios diários de até R$1.000. Não importa o tamanho do seu sonho, dê o primeiro passo. Visa, apoiando seus passos aonde você quiser chegar.
Desfrute do novo Icon of the Seas da Royal Caribbean, agora partindo de Miami. É o ícone das férias repleto de atrações, com o maior parque aquático no mar e espetáculos sensacionais da Broadway. Com destinos incríveis no Caribe, incluindo a premiada ilha particular Perfect Day at Coco Cay, a aventura nunca acaba. Icon of the Seas, as melhores férias em família do mundo. Acesse royalcaribbean.com/BRA. Aplicam-se termos e condições.
Com o NFL Game Pass da DAZN, você assiste a todos os times jogarem todas as partidas da liga. São mais de 250 jogos ao vivo, incluindo playoffs e o Super Bowl. Tudo com transmissão autêntica, além de 4 jogos por semana disponíveis com comentários em português. Aos domingos tem 7 horas de futebol no NFL Red Zone. Clique no banner e saiba mais.
All right. I didn't go get air. So just to be clear, and again, maybe by tomorrow, this whole thing, I've massively overreacted, but you got to understand my position right now. Just seeing this live, I'm watching his knee pop out of place. And again, I asked the question, is it possible that, your knee pops out and pops back in and it's not a serious issue? And this is what ChatGPT had to say. If Jordan Love's knee visibly popped out of joint and then popped back in after the hit from the side, it suggests he may have experienced a knee dislocation or subluxation. The kind of injury often involves significant damage to the surrounding ligaments because they are responsible for stabilizing the knee joint. In most cases, a knee dislocation is accompanied by tearing or severing or severe stretching, of the ligaments such as ACL, PCL, MCL, or LCL. However, there is a very slim chance he didn't tear the ligament if the dislocation was minor and the ligament only stretched without tearing. But, given the nature of the injury you're describing, the likelihood of ligament damage is high. An MRI would need to be confirmed to confirm the extent of the ligament injury. If there's no ligament tear, it's possible that he might have only sustained a severe sprain or meniscus injury. But again, this is less common in cases where the knee visibly dislocates. Let me just ask real quick, how long would he be out typically if it, what did he say, was a severe sprain or meniscus injury? So grade 2 sprain involves partial tearing of the ligament, might require 4 to 6 weeks. Grade 3 strain, which is severe, would be 6 to 12 weeks. If it's a meniscus injury, if it's a small tear on the meniscus, 4 to 6 weeks, larger tear, 6 to 8 weeks. So it's saying that even in a minor case, we're looking at 4 to 6 weeks. Man, this is crazy. I haven't had something like this happen since, in my first year doing the podcast. I just started the podcast. It was like one of my first episodes even. Aaron Rodgers went down. It must have been 2017. And it's just like, you got to be kidding me. It's crazy because it's like, okay, so Zach Cruz posted online, more from Matt LaFleur, 9 points off 3 turnovers, not good enough. A lot of opportunities we didn't capitalize on. We got destroyed in the red area. I expect more from our pass rush tonight. In the run game, we had blown gaps. And Kyle says, Love's hurt. Why even mention this stuff? It doesn't matter. Now, maybe that's unfair, but that's where my head's at right now. Like, do I really want to go through and talk about, like, oh, boy, we got to tighten it up? And da-da-da. It's like, bro, if Jordan's done, our season's over, bro. The whole season, dead. Anyways, well, I'll tell you what, we have to we have to carry on to some degree. And I don't know the situation. So I'm not going to sit here and hold a crying session about something that I don't even know. And nobody's even come close to confirming. Why don't we run through a couple different statistics here real quick? Just to kind of, I don't know, see how guys did or whatever. So Jordan Love was 17 of 34. Certainly not a very good completion percentage. 260 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. 83 passer rating. Certainly not a very good game. Rushing, Emmanuel Wilson, 4 carries, 46 yards, 11.5 yards per carry. Josh Jacobs, 16 carries, 84 yards, 5.2. And Jaden Reed had a carry for 33 yards. Jacobs, in the first half, had less than 1 yard per carry, so he really, really broke out in the second half, so that was really good to see. I wish we had Pratt. I'm sorry. Jaden Reed was the man of the hour. Actually, Romeo Doubs had more targets, but they tied in receptions. Jaden Reed, 6 targets, 4 receptions, 138 yards, and a touchdown. 70 yards was the longest. Josh Jacobs, 3 targets, 2 receptions, 20 yards. Watson, 5 targets, 3 receptions, 13 yards, but a touchdown. Romeo, 7 targets, 4 receptions, 50 yards. Having a hard time focusing, sorry. My mind is like over there just contemplating things like, no, we gotta keep reading, stay focused here. Emmanuel Wilson, 3 targets, 2 receptions, 2 yards. Tucker Kraft, 3 targets, 2 receptions, 37 yards. Wicks, 3 targets, 0 receptions. Some of those passes were a little off, but not the best. Luke Musgrave, similarly, although his 2 targets came in double coverage. And yes, I saw Kurt Bankert say it was Musgrave's fault. Look, first of all, do not throw into double coverage. And then second of all, well, he was supposed to run across the safety's face. Here's the problem with that argument. Jordan didn't throw it that way. Jordan threw it in a straight line. If he was supposed to come across the field, across the safety's face, and Jordan threw it there, it would have been nowhere near him. Get what I'm saying? If Jordan had thrown it in the direction that you're telling me that Musgrave should have run, the ball should have just landed in the middle of the field somewhere. So I'm not buying that crap. Defense. Quay Walker and Javon Bullard led the team in tackles. Bullard had a couple mistakes. I think that missed tackle toward the end was one of my biggest... Like, that was bad moments. I don't want to say of the game because, holy crap, there was a lot. But really bad just throwing the shoulder at a guy. But, I mean, he had some really, really good plays in this game. A lot of promising stuff. Certainly some stuff to clean up. But 11 tackles, 7 solo tackles. Pretty solid. Quay Walker also 11 and 7, including a tackle for a loss. Keyshawn Nixon had the, I guess, second most, third most, whatever. 7 tackles, 6 were solo, including a sack, 2 tackles for a loss, and a pass deflection. Pretty good day for him. Jair Alexander, 4 tackles, a pick, 2 pass breakups. Rashawn Gary, let's see, he had a sack and a tackle for a loss and a pass deflection. Good on him. Xavier McKinney had 4 tackles, had an interception and a pass deflection. I'm guessing the PD also includes interceptions, so... I don't know. They don't usually do that, but I think on this they do. Let's see. Anybody else that's interesting? Isaiah McDuffie had 6 tackles, so he was in on quite a few. Eric Wilson, only 4 tackles, but 2 for a loss. Devontae Wyatt had a tackle for a loss. Edgerrin Cooper, I thought he was flying around making plays, man. I thought he looked pretty smooth. Just 4 tackles, but he added a pass deflection in there. That play was awesome, by the way. He came flying off the edge, had the mental know-how to get his hand up and swat the ball away. What else is interesting in here? I don't think much of anything else. Brooks had 4, Slayton had 5, everyone else is just 2 and 1. And then special teams, Keyshawn had a kick return for 24 yards. Really not a great decision, but I understand trying to make a play in that situation. But I think we lost like 8 seconds and 15 yards by him trying to take it out of there. Daniel Whelan, 2 punts, 74 yards, 37 average, kicked 1 inside the 20. I think he did a really good job. Unfortunately, there was a penalty on one. He kicked the living crap out of a ball, and then there was a penalty, and he did it again. It wasn't quite as good, and then his other punt was the one that went inside the 20, really good punt. So he actually had a great day. If it wasn't for that penalty, it would have been a flawless day. Braden Narvison, I hate to be petty, but, I'm just saying. Everybody's doing victory laps. Yay, we got rid of the guy that can only kick 50-yarders, but at least he's clutch up close. What did he do? He shanks a short field goal. Is what it is, I guess. What else do we got here? Let's switch over real quick to some of the team stats. Time of possession, the Eagles won. Packers were doing really good with that, but again, the game really started to slip away. They ran 74 offensive plays compared to our 58. Offensive yards, actually, 410 to 414, almost an exact tie with us being in the lead by 4, but it just did not matter. At the end of the day, making the plays where it matters, making the least amount of mistakes that hurt the most, I guess. I don't know. It is what it is, whatever. What else do we care about here? Turnovers was a big one. Unfortunately, we couldn't capitalize. That was one of the things Matt LaFleur talked about. I mean, three takeaways, man. You should win the game, flat out. I mean, you take the ball away 3 times, you have a +2 turnover differential. I mean, that should just be in your favor, but you don't really capitalize on them. I mean, field goals are better than nothing, but you get set up inside like the 30-yard line twice. One of them was better than that, but I think both of them were inside the 30, and you can't get it done. Come on, guys. I mean, it's stuff like that. You look at it and just go, that's the game. That's not, I mean, butterfly effect. Who knows how the game goes? You might still lose, but just punch it in once. Punch it in one of those. Don't miss the field goal. Whatever. Just little stuff that makes a difference. Obviously, it was the extra point we went for and didn't get. I think it was the right decision, but still, as another point off the board. I mean, these things add up and they matter. Completion percentage, the Eagles were better, 58%, the Packers 48.6. I mean, that's really bad. I mean, like really, really bad. Boy, oh boy. Interceptions, again, 2-1. Sacked, he was sacked 5.6%, Jordan 5.4%. I am so freaking upset. There was 6 seconds left in that game when he got hit. 6 seconds to get off the field, man. And it was just it was like a busted play. He's just trying to make something happen. I'm sorry, I'm back on it. I just can't. I'm literally, I don't know if it's from this or not. I literally feel sick to my stomach. I usually, you say stuff like that. I feel sick to my stomach. You don't usually feel sick to my stomach. I actually do. I don't know if it's because of this or I ate some. I was so excited to tell you about the food I ate too, which was incredible. Oh, I don't know what to do here. I gotta be a professional, darn it. We did the carries already. I mean, as a team, 7.8 yards per attempt. That's really incredible. 3.8 on the other side. Pretty good for the defense. It's not bad. You hold them under 4. It was a lot better even earlier, but again, toward the end, defense starts to wear down. They got a pretty strong offensive line and pretty elusive running back and whatnot, so those things will happen, I guess. Third down efficiency, they were 29%. We were 27%, 3 of 11. I mean, these are the kinds of metrics you look at and go, this is why you lose a football game. 3 of 11 on third down. My Lord. They were 100% on fourth down, but it was just 1 for 1. In the red zone, 1 of 4. They were 50%, 3 of 6. It's killers, man. Just absolute killers. Total pass breakups, we had 6 as a team, including 2 picks. All right, I think that's enough with the friggin' stats here. I'm not reading this recap. I couldn't care less. I'm not doing that. Whoo, boy. Let's take a second break. I got to figure out a direction here real quick. Those are the stats for the game. Again, there are positives to take away. There's a lot of guys to be excited about. There really is. I mean, Edgerrin Cooper, I think, looks great. Bullard, I'm excited about. McKinney, I'm excited about. There's plenty to be excited about, but let's take a minute. I'll take a break. We'll be right back. Well, there does seem to be quite a bit of positive news. Thanks to Clint on social media who's checking up on this. I saw the Pro Football Doc was talking about it, and I'm like, yeah. I mean, he's talking about the ankle. I don't know if he saw the knee, because most people didn't see the knee until later. So I read his article that he didn't mention knee once. So he quote tweeted it with people talking about the knee 24/7. He says, rolling up in the ankle can cause simultaneous knee issues as discussed in the article, but bigger worry is ankle. Either way, not expecting season injury. season ending, need to protect against swelling on the flight home, shorten recovery time. And even that, I'm looking at it, I'm like, bro, I don't think you're understanding. You didn't even address the pop of the knee. Like, did you see it? And then he found somebody else. This is Edwin Porras, DPT. Viewing this angle, in addition to high ankle, this does look like Love's kneecap pops out. Mahomes did this in 2019 and missed 2 weeks. Unless there's massive damage, this is likely worst case. And again, I don't really know. It depends. Right? So when I talked to ChatGPT, I said that his knee popped out of joint. I don't know if that's different than kneecap pops out, which, by the way, I don't think that's a kneecap pop. That's the back of his leg popping out. I'm really getting sick of having to look at that because I think that's maybe what's making me sick. But either way, well, whatever. These are the doctors. I'm not the doctor. And again, ChatGPT is not a doctor. It pretty much knows all the stuff, but it's just going based off my description, which the doctors don't seem to be seeing what I'm seeing. One guy just is kind of brushing it off like nothing happened. Another guy says his kneecap popped out, which, again, also not what I'm seeing. But whatever. You know what? Actually, let me see that again. I hate to zoom in on his freaking thing every second here. I'm wondering if that's... his leg is going sideways, but that's not his kneecap. Come on. Whatever. I'm going to remain optimistic. It's 2 weeks. He'll be back in 2 weeks. It's whatever. I'm just freaking... I can't do this to myself. I'll tell you what, man. Let's, why don't we just take calls? I don't have anything else to say. I don't want to add any more context to this. I'm beyond flustered. I just think, I've more or less said what I've said. If Jordan, oh my God, this is just hard to wrap my head around. If Jordan comes back in 2 weeks, we can get back on track or whatever. This is you spend months, thinking things through in your brain. It's hard to figure out what the heck we're doing right now because this is not how this was supposed to go. Why don't we just start from the top? Because, again, I don't want to just go back to the pregame, and I don't want to have to do halftime things. I just kind of want to see where we're at here. So let's do that. Here is Omar, the firefighter.
Hey, what's going on? It's Omar, the firefighter. I'm calling back again. Only calling again because I forgot to mention something. I did kind of mention how the offensive line wasn't really giving Jacobs holes and run blocking.
Yeah.
But Rasheed Walker is not looking like a stud left tackle.
No, not at all.
Really, I didn't see all the offensive line. Jenkins was fine and Tom was good, but it's like the Eagles O-line, like they was like 4 out of 5 studs. And it's just like, man, if you put Love behind that O-line and Jacobs behind that O-line with our receivers, man, we could go to the Super Bowl. It's just like night and day. And I don't want to hit on our line too bad, but like, the Eagles D-line got some monsters, and we didn't give up too many. I think we want to give up like 1 or 2 sacks, but I just didn't like how they didn't really help with the run game. Looked like they got beat up a lot. Penalties galore, I guess, on both sides, so I can't really... Yeah. I could be mad about some of the penalties, but it was crazy. I don't know what happened to Musgrave as well. I don't know. I saw him in the beginning. I thought they was mixing him and Kraft, and then it was just like Kraft the rest of the game. And especially like on the fourth quarter, like that's Musgrave all day. I didn't ever understand why Kraft was in there. But either way, I just wanted to mention that. I definitely think, I know we're going to lose some different positions, cornerback as well, but I really think we need to invest in the offensive line tremendously, to help out. And I'm hoping we don't, if Jacobs continue to have games like this, which it ended up better. But I think we got good skill players. And I really think if we had a better O-line, Love will play better and Jacobs. Also, I wanted to shout out another positive is Reed. Reed is killing it. Like, we're going to have to make, like, Reed the best highest paid slot player if he keep playing like this. He's balling out of control. Which is funny because if he's supposedly number one, where the defense pays attention to him, Watson and Dobbs should be killing everybody. So, I think I said this before, but I was disappointed in Wicks. Like, I don't know, he dropped like 2 good passes. It's like, I thought he was going to maybe be the number one. Kind of let me down a little bit. I'm not going to give up on him. Everybody has a bad day, but I just want him to tighten up. All right. Anyway, go Pack, go.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, there was, you mentioned like the penalties and went both ways. I part of my frustration came from the refs themselves. I mean, I understand that you got to call a penalty when you see a penalty, but I think there were way too many freaking flags, and some of them were terrible calls. Now, I'm not going to just sit here and complain about it like that cost us the game. The Packers cost themselves the game. It was a complete disaster. It's kind of the same thing where it's like, I want to complain about it, but I know I can't complain about it because it's that would be ridiculous considering everything that happened. But yeah, the offensive line was a problem, and you could see toward the stretch it got a lot better. I think it was probably a combination of the defense on the other side getting tired, and also the Packers' offense maybe starting to get it together. Rasheed Walker had a terrible day, and I'm positive he's going to have like a 70 PFF grade just to piss me off, because that's just the way everything's going now. Like, I'm positive they're going to give him a good grade. But, I mean, the penalties alone were out of control. Every time I looked at him, he was getting beat. It's just really getting frustrating. And I saw Zach Tom getting beat. I saw Jordan Morgan getting beat. Everybody was just getting beat. So, again, do we just chalk it up to it's week one and they got to get their stuff together a little bit, and the Eagles got some studs on the defensive line? Yeah, maybe. People on the stream were throwing a hissy fit because I was complaining about stuff, and it's like, okay, I understand that maybe we can just chalk it up to week one. Like, we can make all the excuses we want. That's option one. There is a question of, though, like, at least acknowledging what if, like you said, like, do we need help there? Do we have options? I don't know. Should we look to, maybe not immediately, but should we at least ask the question, is there a scenario where maybe Dillard is our tackle? Or, I don't know. I was going to say maybe we kick somebody like Elton outside and put Ryan and Morgan on the inside, but I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how she goes. It's starting to sound like at the very least we've got 2 weeks of not having a quarterback. It could always be better, but I mean, even the docs are kind of looking at 2-week recovery timetable, so we'll see. Docs, by that I mean like people on Twitter that happen to be doctors, not anybody that's actually examining them. But yeah, so there's that. Uncle Rico, what's up?
Yo, Brian, it's your uncle Rico.
What's up?
The game just got over. Packers Eagles. That wasn't ideal. We're gonna have to work on that. But I really called to change my prediction.
Okay.
16-1. Packers are going to go 16-1. We're going to start a winning streak next week.
I
go
appreciate
Pack, go.
That.
We'll figure this shit out. Later.
Yep, and I'm not bleeping that, so sorry about that. I appreciate that, Uncle Rico. I needed a little pick-me-up. That helped. Chris from Alabama, what's going on?
What's going on, Ryan? Chris from Alabama, man. Man.
I know.
Well, that was a hard-fought game, but we lost. And that ain't even the number one thing on my mind, man.
Right.
I'm trying to see what's up with the quarterback, man. I sure hope Jordan Love, alright, man. I don't know. He was on the ground for a little bit. I hope he just had one of them old tweaks of the ankle and it hurt in the moment, and then he alright. I don't know, man. I know we lost. It was a possibility that we lost. It is what it is on the L, but, man, if Jordan Love down, man, that might be the season, man. I don't even want to get into all that, man. I hope he all right. That's the only thing I'm worried about, man. Hard fought battle.
Yeah.
We came up short in the end. It is what it is. Just week 1, man. We're going to bounce back next week. I just hope Jordan Love okay, man. That's all I got, man. Until I can figure out Jordan Love. All right, man. Go, Pack, go. I'm going to talk to y'all later, man. I hope J Love all right, man. Even depending on it.
Yeah, that really is it. I mean, it's, again, I have a format general thing that I do after a game. It's a lot better when the Packers win, but either way, you know, there's information, and you pass on the information to everybody. So we just kind of know where everybody's at, kind of give some general thoughts. But it all just feels stupid because it's irrelevant compared to the bigger picture. And look, man, this crap happens. I mean, this is a part of football. You know, you always talk about it because we know it could be a thing, but you never really think it's going to happen. But, you know, again, we don't know the extent of it. For all we know, you know, it is just an ankle injury, and he could be playing this week. You know, he's walking. We'll find out tomorrow. He's walking it off, and then I'm going to get a bunch of calls about you big frickin' baby, you know, making a big deal about nothing. Which, by the way, I could not care any less. I'm going to be so happy. You can talk all the trash you want. But yeah, you know, I don't know, man. We'll see, and we'll ride with it, and I will do my absolute best to not start geeking out about draft talk, because I know that's just going to piss everybody off. The positive fans will be like, "No, we're going to win. Shut up. We don't talk about the draft." Yeah, but that's how that goes. Thomas Austin, talk to me, man.
Talk about shooting yourself in the foot there. I mean, it's week 1. I'm not too upset by it, but a lot of the early drives, they could have got more than 3, and that would put them in a much better position. Scary stuff to see what happened to Love. Hopefully it's nothing serious.
Yeah.
He has a couple more days of rest due to this being on a Friday game, so hopefully that's a positive in getting them back to health. I don't know why the O-line didn't want to block for Josh Jacobs in the first half. Glad to see him get moving in the second. I don't know. They weren't expected to win. I expected them to win, but that's a different thing. Still a young team. And this first game showed anything, they're not going to give up. And they got some explosive plays and players on offense. Defense needs to get it together, though. All right. Bye.
Yeah, I mean, and again, as far as the defense is concerned, my thought on it is there's a lot of cool individual pieces that are there. You know what I mean? There's a lot to love about the way that they're playing, but they're not executing it right, you know? And if they don't start, then it's just going to be a bad defense, you know? I think especially early on, like, it looked really good, and not just the turnovers. I mean, it's just such a fast defense. And, you know, again, it may be tougher against higher quality opponents, because, you know, you're really just in the face constantly of guys, you know, again, you get some of these rookie guys, you know, you get Caleb or whatever. You can really screw with a lot of these guys, and it's hard to operate under those stressful conditions. You know, you get a Pat Mahomes or somebody that can navigate that. It might be a little bit longer of a day for you, but that's true no matter what defense you run, I guess. But I listen, either way, it's too early to look at and go, oh, should have said Joe Barry. Like, bro, listen, I understand. I mean, you know, people were defending Joe Barry after like 3 years. I feel like we can give him more than a game to see how this pans out. You know, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Let's do one more. I need some Jersey Mike in my life. I haven't heard from Jersey Mike in a while. And I think we'll just end with this one, and I'll just apologize in advance for kind of getting derailed here a little bit. And I really apologize if I overhyped this thing and he's actually okay. But it's just kind of a massive shot in my gut when I saw that, and just, I don't know. But Jersey Mike, why don't you take us out of here?
Hey, Ryan. I haven't called in a while just because I'm taking a different approach to football this season. Okay. I'm still going to a game this year. It's just, I don't know. I got a little too into it last year, and I took over some things. I wanted to focus more on what I got going on in my life anyway. This season, I'm taking a little bit of a step back, but we'll be back to it next season. But no. The reason I really just called is, I mean, obviously we've all seen Jordan Love. It looks like his ankle. But can I tell you why it happened? Can I tell you why Jordan Love has been getting calf workouts on the sideline? Can I tell you why the Packers have looked like bumbling idiots this entire game? Can I tell you why even the Eagles looked like they were struggling for a large majority of the game? It's because Corinthians Arena is, by God, the worst freaking surface that I've seen in a very long time. I have seen football fields that are drenched in water be more playable, have more traction, have less slippage than what the frick I just watched. And Jordan Love has been slipping all frickin' game, unable to plant and make a single frickin' throw. That doesn't happen. Yeah. I'm sorry, but we gotta talk about the NFL, and if it wants to bring its star athletes to other countries, right, then the playing surfaces that they're playing on have to be top notch. Not even just that, right? We have an argument that turf is a problem in the league because it's too sticky, and now or it's too hard, right, whatever. Right. And you've got, by far, one of the best fields in the league, Lambeau Field, and I don't see issues like this. Maybe some teams show up, but then they change cleats, and it's fine. You don't see people slipping and sliding all over the place. That was I saw A.J. Dillon have better footing in the winter versus the Tennessee Titans than what I just saw. Like that's unacceptable. That's not okay. And now we have to question how long Jordan Love is going to be out for. Man, I'm disappointed. And if it isn't exemplified enough, Malik Willis goes in and tries with 20 seconds left, and on both dropbacks he slips. Come on now, do better, NFL. That's egregious. Go Pack, go.
No, I agree. I mean, of course, super excited that they got to go there and all that stuff, but that's a massive oversight by the league. I mean, listen, this is a multi-billion-dollar operation we got going on here. We need to be able to make sure that we have standards, and it should be up to those standards. It just seemed like they were completely caught unaware. I'm not saying you never go there, but it just, there's some basic things that you would expect, and maybe it's just an oversight because it's like, what do we need to do? Because, again, it is just all about money. So it's bare minimum, cross as many T's and dot as many I's as I need to get all the paperwork to make sure that this is official and then make the teams go there whether they want to or not. But does it work? And even if it's just, you should have an understanding of what you're getting into. The players didn't seem to have any idea, the teams. Why did they not know that it was going to be like that? Why did they need to switch? They clearly were not prepared. So everybody had to switch their cleats, and even then they're still slipping. So, at the very least, there should have been some level of due diligence of the NFL and the teams understanding what kind of grass is this? What kind of, like, this isn't what we use in the NFL. Okay, what are the properties of this? I mean, we pay people good money to maintain, like, you know, the grass and everything. Like, there's experts, like the guys in Lambeau. Even if the NFL's not going to do it, how about we talk to that guy and say, hey, we're going out to this. Can you do a little research for me? Tell me what kind of grass. Tell me about the prop. Tell me what we're getting into here. What is it like? Can we find somewhere kind of locally that maybe uses a similar kind of thing so we can kind of get an idea of what we're getting into? The NFL should be providing reports for this kind of stuff. I mean, the fact that they were just completely unaware, like they had no idea what kind of surface that it was and what the ramifications of that were going to be. And at the end of the day, it ended being kind of a poor product. How much money did the NFL spend to be able to do this? How much time and preparation went into this? And there's just a massive oversight on one of the biggest factors, the field. Because like you said, it's not like it was a monsoon. This isn't some kind of unforeseen thing. This is a factor that has been in place since day one. It's just the type of surface that they use. This could have been addressed day one. Either way, I mean, this has to be considered moving forward. It probably won't be, because the NFL, I mean, they don't even want to change their own fields for the sake of protecting players. I doubt that they care enough to, if they have an opportunity to go to Germany or wherever on a soccer field, they're not going to be, well, we're not going to go because they use a certain kind of grass. They're just going to say, oh, well. But at least hopefully they can say, hey, by the way, it's that kind of freaking grass again. Maybe put in some serious, thick old cleats in there or something. I don't know. It never does cease to amaze me. You know, you look at these things and I always kind of look in awe. You know, like, oh man, they have such an army of people, and these are the biggest and brightest, and that's why they make, millions of dollars salary and everything, and and then you just look at it and go, bro, I don't think I would have missed that. I'll be honest with you. Like, I couldn't have got the team there. I couldn't have organized all this. I don't know who to call, what to do. I have no idea. Regulations. I'm sure there's all kinds of stuff. And that's the thing. They're focused on all the legalities and all the. It's like, but you're missing like a really central thing. That's like, oh yeah, you didn't know they don't have bathrooms here? Yeah, dude. That's we don't have locker rooms. You didn't know that? Oh, it's crazy. Well, I don't know what you're going to do now. Like, whatever. I don't know, man. I don't know. And if they did know and they tried to prepare for it, they sucked at that. They sucked pretty bad at it. But you're right. It is an embarrassment and a blemish, I think, for the NFL, because it just makes you look unprofessional and unprepared. Like, this is... I'm not going to blame Brazil. I'm not going to blame the stadium. This is what they use. They're perfectly content with using this to play soccer on. It's your responsibility to inspect these things to see if it's up to your personal stand. They're not the ones that are going to determine whether or not it works for the NFL. Why should, this stadium, which I'm guessing is primarily used, if not exclusively used for soccer, I'm guessing they're not the ones that are going to have to determine whether this works well for the NFL. How would they know? That's clearly not their obligation. You're going to pay me a bunch of money to come down here and play football in our stadium? Dope. Where do I sign? That's about all they need to do. And again, I don't think the NFL cares. They whatever. I don't know. But, I'm going to get out of here. You guys have a good rest of your day. It's been a long day. Appreciate everybody for hanging out. Appreciate all of you that could have made it on the long live stream. And we'll see how it goes. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Make sure to keep getting your calls in. We got a bunch of calls here to get through, so we'll be all right for a while. But I got to go to bed. It's midnight. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.